What a way to end the day then, with a split grid that has been one of the most exciting throughout today, and is really going to put me on edge, because remember, having some issues with the transponders in this race, given we have a mixed grid between the Mighty Cadets and the Micromaxes. Some interference on those means I can't follow the live timing, which is going to make this one very interesting. Anyway, we'll do our best to get through it. Let's have a look at the grid then for the last final of round number 2 of the Rally Replay SuperOne Series in 2025. Let's start with the Micromax grid. Benjamin Slavar starts on pole position alongside Theo Jepson. Rafe Owen and Will Hatton are on row 2, with Freddie Blackshaw and Evan Mellor on row number 3. Now Evan Mellor getting some penalties in heat number 2. That's why he's dropped down to row 3 of the grid here. Watch him coming through the order. Noah Wicklow and Henry Perrin are there on row number 4, with Lani Adun and Eleanor Shelby-Parsonage your top 10. They're followed by Toby Cannon and Charlie Page. Then it's Ellis Holt and Isaac Garth, the last of your Micromax drivers. Then we move on to the grid for Mike E Cadet. William Crombie and Xavier Ramsey are on the front row, with TJ Mackay and Kane Langley on row number 2. Row 3 has Heath Smith and Harry Stinson. Row 4, Logan Jackson and Noah Maiba. Then row 5, Ethan Kuehl and Daniel Stangarine. Row 6 sees Brandon Hartley and Chase Wilmington. Row 7, Jack Swong and Will Beattie. And then rounding out the 30 drivers on the grid are Freddie Turkington and Hadley Jarvis. Well, 30 drivers still to take to the track in anger then to finalise what has been the most fantastic weekend here for the Rally Replay SuperOne Series up at Rowrah. And still, even though we're pressing on towards 5 p.m. here, the sun is absolutely beating down on us here up in Cumbria. What a beautiful weekend it's been. What a fantastic weekend it's been to be involved with the championship. A big thank you to SuperOne for having me here on commentary. And once again to all the crew at Alpha Live for doing such a fantastic job here to bring you these brilliant pictures. Well, the driver's getting ready to go then in the dummy grid. They're waiting for the all clear to be sent on to the racetrack for the final 9 minutes plus 1 lap of action. Let's have a little look at the previous results then, I'll remind myself what ended up happening in the second heat of the day. Or was it the second heat of the day? Let's have a little look through there. Noah Wicklow was your winner in heat number 2. Evan Mellon second. Theo Jepson third. This is in Micromaxes, by the way, with Freddie Blackshaw and Benjamin Slavar the top 5. William Crombie was your winner in Mighty Cadet, then Xavier Ramsey second, TJ Mackay, Harry Stinson and Kane Langley. Those were your top 5 in the Mighty Cadets there in heat number 2. Looking back on heat number 1, though, was that where we had the issues? Let's look back on that one. Yes, this is where we had the issues. The 3 drivers battling for the lead, contravention of flag signals during the race. So the top 3 in the Micromaxes dropped down the order, and it was even worse for Evan Mellor, who, if I remember correctly, did win the race on track, but 10 position penalty. One of those 5 positions was for the contravention of flag signals, and 1 was for gaining an unfair advantage. So that's put Evan Mellor in a bit of a difficult position here as we move in towards the final. But when I say a difficult position, Evan's still there on the 3rd row of the grid in Micromaxes, so still a good position to be starting in here for the final. But there's plenty of drivers around him who are wanting to beat him to the punch here and take the final win in Micromax. We come into the last race of today. What a day of racing it has been. Thank you all so much for joining us here on the live stream. I hope you've been enjoying the coverage here, courtesy of Alpha Live. Let's press on then into the last race of the day. Benjamin Slavar, like I say, starting on pole position in the Micromaxes. He was, I remember seeing him, I've seen him loads down at Rye House, of course, battling in and amongst the Coma Bambinos. He was also involved in the first ever Tillotson T4 Bambino race held at the Tillotson T4 Nations Cup in Valencia, Spain last year. And if you do race in Tillotsons and you're racing at the Nations Cup this year, I'll see you there as well. Back in the commentary booth in Valencia for that one. I cannot wait. I'm sure the weather is going to be a lot like it is here in Cumbria. Right there, one more final left to go, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get it underway? First time of asking. The Micromaxers lead us on to 9 minutes plus 1 lap of racing, and the 78 of Benjamin Slavar leads us up the first couple of corners. The 17 dives through, nearly chucking the 21 to the grass. That's Rafe Owen having to get out of the way of Evan Mellor as Evan Mellor scythes through to 3rd place already. Here's the mighty cadets though. They're about to get their race underway as well. Great start from the outside of the grid there. I think they think that that's a false start. I mean, it was less than ideal to the start, but have they carried on? Yes, they have carried on. My apologies. As oh dear, we've got someone already who's had an issue on the rolling up lap. That's the 31. Who is that coming into the final sector? That was Will Hatton. Will Hatton was supposed to be starting on the second row of the grid in the Micromaxes. That is gutting for Will Hatton. There's the 55 going slowly. That's Lani Edun who's had an issue here on the first lap of the final. But here's Benjamin Slavar then. Leads us through to the end of lap number 1. And who's that? Is that Theo Jepson trying to fight his way through? It is. Trying to get side by side as they head up onto lap number 2. Here's the battle for the lead then in the Mighty Cadets. Xavier Ramsey looks to have got through to the front of the order. Yes, he has. Great battling through for Xavier Ramsey. What is the rest of the top 3 looking like? You are starting to pull a gap already then. Of course, I can't tell you because there's no live timing. I keep forgetting that. Right, there we go. Up to the first couple of corners. I will try my best to spot the numbers here on the screen to tell you exactly what's happening. Here's a move for second place. Down the inside goes the number 17. That's Evan Meller already up into second place then. We said it's going to be a bit more of a challenge from the third row of the grid, but he's making it look easy as he already cuts through to second place on the second lap of this race. He points forward, Theo Jepson. He says, let's work together, come on. I mean, you're right on the rear bumper of Benjamin Slavar. I don't think any working together is going to happen here. And Slavar knows it. He just wants to chuck on the anchors and say, I'll just defend loads and you guys can squabble in behind. Hopefully something ends up happening and we carry on. That was a lovely change to the Mighties there. Sadly, we cut away, but beautiful camera work nonetheless there as we head on through the final couple of corners. Mighty Cadets then pressing on. Xavier Ramsey in the lead, the 20 in second and the 15 in third. So it's Kane Langley in second and William Crombie from pole position who's down to third place. Move for the lead. Through goes Evan Meller. What a beautiful move there. Up at the stewardesses. He finds a way through and Evan Meller from 6th place on the grid moves into the lead in the Micromaxes. As off in the wall goes the 38. That's one of the Mighties. That's Hadley Jarvis who's off in the wall down at one of the hairpins. Gutted to see him out of the race so early on in this one. Still just over 6 minutes left to go. As the Micromaxes fly on up to the top of the circuit, still as they were in the top 3. Slavar in second with Evan Meller in the lead. Priestley battling as they go up the hill. It's the 18. Just ahead of the 20, I believe. So Heath Smith has got through on Kane Langley then. Here's the battling in the Micromaxes once again as they head down through to the stewardesses. Late move, too late from Noah Wicklow. Goes straight into the side of Theo Jepson, and Theo Jepson puts his hands on. What was that, mate? A little bit too late on the brakes there from Noah Wicklow. He was only trying to go for one overtake, I think, there, and suddenly realised, oh dear, the gap has closed rather quickly there, and Wicklow goes straight in the side of Jepson. Jepson holds on to his position though in third place. Wicklow's then there in fourth. So I guess the overtake kind of worked there for Noah Wicklow in the end. Making the move on the 28, that was. The 28 of Freddie Blackshaw. There's a move down the inside. Oh no, that's on a back marker, sorry, the 39. That is the leaders in the Mighties coming through. Xavier Ramsey still leading this one from the front. Kane Langley in second place. With William Crombie still sitting there in P3. No changes to the sharp end of the order in either of the classes in the last couple of laps. Both were so scrappy in Heat 1 and Heat 2. I didn't know where to look. My brain was just overloaded with racing action. This one has been a lot more calm and considerate here across both the Micromaxes and the Mighty Cadets. But as we close in on the race coming to an end and the checkered flag coming out, how long is that going to stay like that? The 28 trying to make a move there as they head on up the hill. And it's on the 16. They wallop the front to rear of that one. That's Freddie Blackshaw trying to find a way through on Theo Jepson. Not able to, so Theo has lost out then to Noah Wicklow on that last part of the lap. So Noah Wicklow's up to the top 3 then. Side by side between these two. That's the 11 and the 12 there as they head up the hill, or just about giving each other enough room. That was a close one there between Ethan Hulme on the 11 and Logan Jackson on the 12 as they battle in for position here. As we close in to less than 4 minutes left to go of racing action here. Round number 2 with the Rally Replay SuperOne Series in 2025. Here are your leaders then. in the Mighty Cadets. Still Xavier Ramsey not crumbling under the pressure out there. Xavier doing a brilliant job to fend off the drivers in behind. And Xavier really coming to the fore here in the Mighty Cadets. Always been a relatively impressive driver, but Xavier really showing his own here in the Mighty Cadets as he leads from the front. There's the number 35 and the 13, Ellis Holt and Isaac Garth. Just ahead of the 55 then of Lani Adun, who's trying to get back from that earlier incident. And here come the Mighty Cadets then. Is that a change at the front of the order? Xavier Ramsey's been pushed out of the way here. The number 20 of Kane Langley goes to the front of the field. Oh, Xavier just getting into the side of one of our Honda drivers. That was Lani Adun that they slid into the side of. I think Xavier Ramsey could drop to third place here as they head into the stewardesses. I think he has. William Crombie's up to second place then. So he switched around. Kane Langley in the lead of this race in the Mighty Cadets. William Crombie in second place. Xavier Ramsey down to third. I think I might consider that a commentator's curse then. I think that's probably the first of the day. Sorry, Xavier. We're singing Xavier's praises. Xavier's play. Oh, I can't even speak. Singing Xavier's praises. And then Xavier loses 2 places. There we go. Final races of the day, ladies and gentlemen. On we go then. That's Xavier still trying to cut through a couple of the Micromaxes. As here, the 20 of Kane Langley points forward, points to William Crombie and said, let's work together. We're building a gap here over Xavier. Let's press on. That's exactly what they're going to do. We look back to the Micromaxes then and look at the lead being eked out. Benjamin Slavar under pressure. Down the inside goes Noah Wicklow. Up and under goes Slavar and gets squeezed to the inside line. Loses momentum. Now has to fight up the hill ahead of Theo Jepson. Jepson can't quite find a way through. So that's Wicklow up to second place in the Micromaxes. Benjamin Slavar slips down to third. Manages to fend off though from Theo Jepson. 28 in behind as well, and Freddie Blackshaw's getting involved, and not too far back to the 21 of Wraith Owen. A warning goes out for Noah Wicklow though, I guess from that overtake, or maybe the chopping across really pushed Benjamin Solar to that inside grass there. Benjamin did a good job though to react to it and fend off for the drivers in behind who are coming at a rate of knots right up to his rear bumper. We continue on though, almost to 1 minute left to go in this race. We're closing in towards the end of racing action here for Rowrah. What a way to finish here with both the Micromaxes and Mighty Cadets. I think we're looking back here to the Mighties. They come into the final sector. A little loads of squabbling going in there in the mid-pack. Sorry I can't give you updates on those because I've got no live timing, but they're having a great little battle out there at our sort of the lower end of the top 10 in the Mighty Cadets. Here's second place downwards then in the Micromaxes. Still Slavar, still feeling a bit under pressure as he holds that inside line. Behind Noah Wicklow, ahead of Theo Jepson and Freddie Blackshaw. Like I say, not too far back then to Wraith Owen on the number 21 either. Here are those top 3 in the Mighty Cadets, still as they were. Kane Langley ahead of William Crombie, ahead of Xavier Ramsey, but Xavier is closing in there on the top 3. We'll need to have our eyes out for that one. But it looks as though Micromaxes have come across the line just before we tick to 0. So 2 more laps still to come here of this final. Oh, that looked like a bit of a slam into the back there of Benjamin Slavar. We'll wait and see how that one played out. These top 3 continuing on though. They stayed as they were. Well done to Slavar, holding on to that one ahead of Jepson. Up and under on one of the Mighty Cadets there as they fly on by, but still Evan Mellor from 6th on the grid has a lovely lead here. Late move to the inside, that was beautifully timed there, as in the wall goes the 35. That's Ellis Holt out of this race. Ellis was battling with Isaac Garth over the last couple of laps. Ellis though will be going no further there, off in the wall on the exit of Sunny Bend. Move to the inside, this is for the lead! Chucks him to the outside line, what a move there! As trying to follow through there is Xavier Ramsey. That's William Crombie then, through on Kane Langley on the penultimate lap of this race. Final lap has been started by our Micros, and the Mighties just coming around the final corner to start their last lap. Then we cut back to the Micros as they push on in their battles. There's Noah Wicklow at the front of your screen in second place. Then we've got Slavar still in third. And These two now battling over 4th place. They're going to get close on the exit. 28 and 16. And Freddie Blackshaw trying to find a way through on Theo Jepson there as they head through down the final lap of racing here for round number 2 of the Rally Replay SuperOne series. I can see them out the commentary box. There comes Evan Mellor, and here is your battle in Might E Cadets. The battle for the win is still on. Down the inside, there they go. The move down the inside goes through, and there is Evan Mellor from 6th on the grid to win the Micromax race. What an unbelievable final for Evan Mellor. Didn't let that stop him, and 6th on the grid, pressed on through as quickly as he could and took the win. But there is the 15 of William Crombie. He leads from pole to flag victory, but it was not that easy. What a battle it was between Crombie, Ramsey and Langley in that race. But it goes the way of William Crombie at the flag. Fantastic racing across both of those classes there to finish off what was an unbelievable day of racing here at Rowrah. Now, sadly, like we've seen in the heats earlier on, we can't bring you the full results from that race, which is very gutting to see. But like we say, head over to results.alphatiming.co.uk/SuperOne, and you'll be able to find all of the race results, not only from today, but from round 1 yesterday and the O-Play a week ago, and of course throughout the rest of the season as well. Now, speaking of the rest of the season, there's loads more rounds left to come this year in the Rally Replay SuperOne series. At the start of May, the team will be heading to GYG in Wales for round 3 and 4. Then at the end of May, it's down to Clay Pigeon for round 5 and 6, and that's when I'll be rejoining you for round number 6 on the commentary. Then the team head off to round 7 and 8 for Fullbeck. That's early July. Then early August, it's Wilton Mill for round 9 and 10, and then finishing off the series season at Sheddington for round 11 and 12 at the end of August. Well, we have kicked off the season fantastically well here at Rowrah. And just as we've got a few drivers getting their karts sorted out, I can see that we've got one driver off on the inside of the final corner, which is never how we want to see the race day end. One of the drivers in a little bit of discomfort there down at the final corner. I do believe it's the mighty driver of Daniel Stangarine. Hopefully Daniel all okay there as he's being tended to by the marshals. But that is it then for racing action here at Rowrah. Of course, hopefully drivers all okay that have had incidents here in the finals or throughout the day, but all drivers hopefully going home with a smile on their face, and that is the main thing. What a day it's been. What a weekend it's been to kick off the season in 2025 for the Rally Replay SuperOne series. Like I said a few races ago, thank you so much to SuperOne and particularly Amelia for having me here in the commentary box for today's action. It was absolutely brilliant. It was so brilliant that my voice is pretty much gone, so I think I'm going to have a little rest when we end this stream. Of course, a big shout out to all of the marshals out there on circuit. A big shout out to everyone behind the scenes at SuperOne. A big thank you to all the timing crew on the left of me in the next room, and a big thank you to all of the team here at Alpha Live Productions, all the videographers, and of course my lovely producer as well, for all making this so simple and smooth for you to enjoy at home wherever you have been watching from. Of course, if you enjoyed my commentary, a big thank you, and go and drop me a follow at Ratters Media on Instagram. I would really appreciate your support. But from everyone here at Rowrah, from everyone at SuperOne, thank you so much for joining us here for the first Alpha live stream of the year for the Rally Replay SuperOne series. Like I mentioned, we'll see you back on the live stream for round number 4 at GYG at the start of May. But until then, thank you very much and goodbye for now.